Hello, listeners. This is Kat, and welcome back to Put Your Hands Up Podfics. This will be the continuation of Is Neutrality Not Enough? This will be Part 2, Chapter 2. Al walks into the dingy old bar where he'd be meeting a new client. He'd been in the information business of Japan for a few months now, and his reputation had grown extensively at this point. The client he was meeting this time was one of the big guys of the underworld. Al had heard rumors of him everywhere. Whispers about the heart of the underworld. All for one. As he steps through the door, he notices two people are present in the bar. The bartender standing behind the bar, drying some glasses, made of purple mist and wearing a neat suit. And a figure sitting at one of the bar stools, his back facing Al. He has greasy blue hair and is wearing all black clothes. It seems he is playing on a gaming console with his pinkies raised. To the left hangs a TV on the wall. The bartender looks up. "Good evening, Al," he greets. "Good evening. I'm here to drop off information," Al says as he sits down on the bar stool, as far away from the blue-haired figure as possible. "I'm Kurogiri. Master will be here shortly to pick up the information. In the meantime, would you like something to drink?" Al nods. "Yes. A milkshake, please." Kurogiri supplies him with a strawberry milkshake. It's silent for a few minutes, where Al drinks his milkshake. Kurogiri continues cleaning his glasses, and the blue-haired figure, that Al has decided is named Krusty because of his dry skin, furiously taps on his Game Boy. Then the TV screen comes to life. Al can see a large figure on the screen, mostly hidden by shadows. It seems tubes surround the face. In the background you can hear the whirring of machines. "Good evening, Al." A deep voice comes out of the TV speakers, crackling with static. Even through the TV screen, Al can feel the massive aura that belongs to this guy. "Good evening, all for one." A chuckle on the other side of the screen. "I can see Midori Itachi well. You're well informed." He knows his dad. Well, of course, he's the supposed king of the underworld. "Yes, my father is a good mentor." It's silent for a few seconds, so Al decides to continue. "I brought the information you asked for." He takes a flash drive out of his backpack. "Kurogiri." The bartender opens a small portal, and when Al gives the flash drive, it disappears through the purple mist. Al guesses All for One is looking through the files on the flash drive because it's silent again for a few minutes. He notices that Krusty has put down his console and is now intensely watching him. The blood-red eyes make Al's skin crawl, but he decides to ignore it. He looks back at the TV and waits until it crackles with static again. "Your information is impressive. I'll make sure you receive your payment tonight, though this is not why I asked you to come here." Al already guessed this. He's sure All for One could have gathered this information himself if he'd wanted to. "I want you to meet my successor, Tomura Shigaraki." "Tomura, greet our guest." With that, the TV springs to audio only, and it is clear the conversation has ended. Al turns around completely to face Krusty, Shigaraki. The man is still sitting on the bar stool looking at him, but now he is scratching his neck. "You don't look like much." Al has to resist the urge to roll his eyes. Instead, he says, "Well, I'm an informant, not some fighter." "What's your quirk?" Al is starting to find this guy really annoying. "I'm quirkless." "I've heard you give information to the heroes. Why?" "I just give information to the one who pays the most." Shigaraki does not look satisfied with that answer. His scratching increases in intensity. "Why not join us? We can pay you enough." Okay, no, he does not like Krusty. First, he asks rude questions and then has the audacity to ask him to join. "I'm neutral, okay? I don't do this whole heroes versus villains thing." The scratching increases. The red glare grows more intense. "Can you please stop with the scratching? They have moisturizer for that, you know." That's when Krusty loses his temper. He launches at Al, with his hands stretched out. Al readies himself to grab Krusty's wrists. Before the two can clash with each other, a purple portal appears between them and teleports the two to opposite sides of the room. "Please calm down, both of you," Kurogiri reprimands them, his voice still as calm as it was before. Krusty glares at Al with killing intent. Al glares back, his eyes a toxic green, and his glare dangerous. "I'm leaving. Please don't contact me again." With that, Al intends to leave. Krusty is yet to move from the spot he was teleported to, his blood-red eyes giving off killing intent. Al ignores Krusty as he walks past the bar to the door. He's sure the man would attack by the slightest provocation if their conversation was anything to go by. Unfortunately, his curiosity has other plans. When he walks past the bar, he looks at the gaming console. Wait, is that? His curiosity gets the better of him. Is that Hades? Yup, he definitely wants to die. But surprisingly, the killing intent lessens even if the red glare stays the same. "Yeah, you're a gamer?" Krusty asks in an annoyed voice, though there is some curiosity underneath it. That's how Krusty became a client of Al. Izuku stands in front of the bar. It's been months since he first visited here. He has grown a lot as an informant. He's more confident in his abilities, if he says so himself. He adjusts his mask so it sits better in front of his eyes, even though he doesn't really need the mask at the bar. Everyone there knows his identity, but it makes him feel more comfortable to wear the mask, to completely be Al. He opens the door and steps through. "Yo, Krusty, I got your information." Red eyes turn towards him. Shigaraki is sitting to the right on a couch, a new addition to the bar, gaming. "Stop using that name. I'll dust you," the man says, annoyed. Al scoffs. "Yeah, right." Over at the bar, Dobby laughs. He's sitting on one of the bar stools, sipping a drink. "You're never losing that name." Al walks over to the couch and plops down on it. Shigaraki glares at him for a second, but doesn't say anything. Al picks up another controller and joins the game. They sit like that for a while, playing Mario Kart. Dobby is looking at something on his phone. Then Al decides to get to business. "All Might is going to teach at UA this year." Dobby chokes on his drink and goes into a coughing fit. The other two ignore him. Al looks over at Shigaraki, confused why the man hasn't said anything. When he looks, the man is still looking at the game, but his face is spread into a wide grin. Al has to suppress a shudder. It's the grin of a maniac. "That's good. That's really good. It means our plans can start soon." The blue-haired man is scratching his neck again, a habit Al has learned he does when he is really annoyed or when he is deeply thinking about something. Then the man turns to look at Al. The blood-red eyes have a crazy glint to them. "What do you want as a payment?" Al stands up and puts the controller down, the game forgotten by both of them. He takes a photo out of his bag and shows it to Shigaraki. "Get everything you can about this man, and give the information back to me." Shigaraki looks up suspiciously at Al. "That's it." Al shrugs. "The #1 hero is not worth much to me." The man grins at that. "I'll send you the information as soon as possible." Al nods, picks up his bag, and leaves the bar. Shota really thought his shift was over. It's 5 in the morning, and he is at the station, sitting with Tsukauchi in the man's office, filling in some paperwork for a criminal he just brought in. He had hoped that after the paperwork he could have gone home, got an hour of sleep, and then gone to UA. But no, life is never that easy. He is just finishing up with the paperwork when a nervous police officer walks into the room. Shota doesn't recognize the guy, and he looks quite young, so he guesses this must be the new intern Tsukauchi was talking about. "Eraserhead, your nephew just brought you a coffee. He said you would need it." Shota raises an eyebrow at the intern. "I don't have a nephew." "Well, someone brought you a coffee. It's at the reception." Shota sighs, stands up, and follows the officer, together with Tsukauchi, out of the room to the reception. Once there, the officer shows Shota the cup of coffee. A note is stuck to the outside of the cup with some tape. What's weird is that the note is made of parchment. Shota has a sinking feeling he knows who this is from. He opens the note, and something is written in neat handwriting. Tonight at 9 p.m., meet at the Harbinger Bar. Al. Shota looks back up at the officer. Can we see the camera footage of the last half hour? The officer nods and begins typing at a computer. Tsukauchi turns to Shota. Are you going? Shota looks at the note, trying to decide. The Harbinger is located in the red light district. Shota knows it is one of the few neutral bars in the city. Al probably knows this too. After a moment of silence, he answers. Yes, it's the best lead we have, and I'm interested in what Al has to say. The officer comes back to them before the detective can respond. I'm sorry, but it seems all the footage of the past 20 minutes is corrupted. Of course. Besides an informant, Al is a hacker. They could have gotten a face, but no, Al is one step ahead of them. Damn it. Can you remember what he looked like? Tsukauchi asks the officer. The officer nods. He had green eyes. Anything else? Tsukauchi presses. The officer shakes his head. Sorry, sir. He had his hood up, so I couldn't see any features. Tsukauchi sighs and dismisses the officer, muttering something about interns. Shota grabs the cup of coffee. It's still warm. He smells it to check if it may be poisoned. It smells normal, so he takes a big gulp. Al was right about one thing. He was going to need this coffee today. It is 9:15, and Shota is standing in front of the bar. He never really visits bars in his free time, something Nomuri and Hisashi find scandalous, so they often try to drag him along. It rarely works, and for that Shota is grateful. He'd much rather sleep. He adjusts his capture scarf one final time and then steps into the bar. Inside it reeks of alcohol, cigarette smoke, and sweat. The volume of chatter is loud, but in the background he can still faintly hear some music. He walks to the bar and sits down on one of the bar stools. There are all kinds of people here. Workers who are gambling their salary away at one of the tables, criminals, some low-level villains, and even some underground heroes. Shota orders a non-alcoholic drink and waits for Al. At 9 p.m. sharp, someone takes place next to Shota. How was the coffee? Shota turns to look at Al. He's wearing his usual black and gold owl mask, black slacks, a white dress shirt with a red tie, a black vest with gold accents to accompany the mask, black leather gloves, a dark green hoodie to likely cover up his hair, and red shoes that really don't go with the outfit. His green eyes seem to shine behind the mask. It was pretty good. Al hums and orders a milkshake. No alcohol. Al shrugs noncommittally. I can say the same about you. They are silent for a while, each drinking their own drink and quietly observing the visitors in the bar. After a while, Shota decides to break the silence. Why did you want to speak with me, Al? Al takes a notebook and a flash drive out of his yellow backpack. He hands Shota the flash drive. I actually wanted to give you some info on this guy. It should be enough to arrest him and lock him up for quite some time. Shota frowns. Why would you just give this information? The guy broke the contract. He shrugs. Make sure you arrest him soon, though. Otherwise I'll have to deal with him in other ways. Al's eyes darken a bit at this statement, the dangerous glint appearing for just a second. Then it is gone again, and he hands Shota the black notebook. And I wanted to give you this. Shota flips through the notebook, reading some paragraphs here and there. His eyes widen. This is top-notch analysis, and it's absolutely terrifying that Al was able to gather this much just by watching. This is... Yeah, I know, analysis. See it as a present for our new contract. You analyzed so much with so little? Shota asked, surprised. Yup. I mean, it was harder than usual because there's so little actual footage of you fighting, but last time you captured me really helped me to analyze you. And you really needed it. I mean, have you seen your goggles? Al says, exasperated, his hands waving around dramatically. Shota glares at Al. There was nothing wrong with my goggles. Al laughs at that. Oh, yes, there is. They don't protect you against anything. Just use a flashbang and you're completely incapacitated. And we're not even talking about your hair. I mean, it's just a dead giveaway for when you use your quirk. I'm not binding up my hair, Shota huffs. Al shrugs. Whatever, just make sure you arrest that guy. He stands up and swings his backpack over his shoulders. Oh, and good luck with the exams, I heard they're soon. Wait, Al, why do you do this? Shota asks, remembering to get more information on the guy. Damn it, the informant was too good at deflecting attention. Al turns his head to look at Shota and gives him a terrifying grin. Spite. With that, Al weaves through the bar, past the people, and disappears into the night, leaving Shota with a lot of questions and a notebook filled with creepy analysis. Hitoshi is sitting at a cafe, trying to study for the entrance exam of UA. It's in 3 weeks, and right now he is desperately trying to get through some math exercises. He doesn't understand much of this particular part, when eventually he throws his pencil down in frustration, and he hears a voice next to him. You have to differentiate the formula a second time. Hitoshi turns to look at a plain-looking boy around his age with a mop of green hair. Hitoshi just stares at the boy, not making a move to look if he was right. The boy fidgets under his gaze, then his eyes grow wide. Oh, right, introductions, he mumbles. I'm Izuku Midoriya. I am sorry if I bothered you. It's just that it looked like you didn't really understand the exercise, and, well, I really like math and thought I could maybe explain. Midoriya goes over into unintelligible mumbling. Hitoshi can only stare at him, dumbfounded. It's fine. I'm Hitoshi Shinso, he manages to say eventually. Go social awkwardness, geez. Midoriya looks up at him again, with a wide smile on his face. Nice to meet you, Shinso. Yeah, same. Hitoshi responds awkwardly, rubbing the back of his neck. You're studying for the UA entrance exam, right? The green-haired boy asks, pointing at the application letter that has fallen out of Hitoshi's math book. He had put it there this morning, meaning to mail it this afternoon. Yup, Hitoshi answers, surprised the boy even noticed. Midoriya's smile brightens at that. Oh, wow, good luck. Are you applying for the hero course? Oh, what quirk do you have? It's not a mutant type, but then what is it? There are no obvious body modifications. Maybe something with the purple hair. Midoriya trails off, but then quickly looks up at an uncomfortable Hitoshi. I'm sorry if that was weird. I just get really excited when I see a new quirk. You don't have to tell me if you don't want to. Hitoshi studies Midoriya's face. It's bright and open. Only curiosity lies in his eyes. Hitoshi hesitates. The teen seems so nice, but then again, so seem other people, until they learn about his quirk. Midoriya seems to notice his hesitance, because he says, I'll go first. A nervous smile crosses his face. I'm quirkless. The teen fiddles anxiously with his hands when he says this. Hitoshi is a bit surprised by this. He hasn't met many quirkless people. A girl in his class was quirkless, but she moved with her family to the countryside in 3rd grade. He knows the quirkless have it even worse than people who have so-called villainous quirks, and ultimately decides that telling the other teen his quirk is worth the risk. My quirk is called brainwashing. Like the name suggests, I can brainwash people. Nervously, Hitoshi rubs the back of his neck. With bated breath, he waits for the inevitable reaction, disgust, or fear, or both. Neither of that happens. Instead, Midoriya's face lights up, his eyes shining with excitement. That is such a cool quirk, and it's so useful for heroics. You could easily defuse a hostage situation, and you could calm civilians down when there's a villain attack. How does it work? Do they just have to talk to you? Do they have to answer you in some way? Is it touch-based? Hitoshi laughs, surprised at all the teen's questions. I'll answer your questions if you help me with my math. Midoriya nods excitedly at this. Hitoshi can't believe that went so well. The only other people who ever reacted positively were his dads. Maybe, just maybe, Midoriya isn't so bad. In the few weeks before the exam, him and Midoriya become friends. They often meet at the cafe, where Midoriya helps him with studying for the exam. Today's the day before the exam, and Midoriya's trying to calm Hitoshi down. Ugh, I'm just going to fuck everything up. I don't know anything. Frustrated, Hitoshi puts his head in his hands. You studied super well. You'll do fine. And by the way, you had an amazing mentor, Midoriya says, pointing his fingers exaggeratedly at himself. Hitoshi snorts at that. Yeah, I'm more worried about the practical part. I asked my dads, but they won't say anything. Midoriya's smile falters a bit. You know, he says nervously, fiddling with his fingers. I asked my cousin. He took the exam too. Wait, you have a cousin in UA and you didn't tell me? Hitoshi interrupts Midoriya, eyes blown wide. Midoriya laughs. No, he didn't pass the practical, but he did say he had to fight robots, and well, I don't think they've changed the exam in years. Hitoshi groans and lets himself slump in the chair. Bye-bye hero course. But I was thinking, Midoriya continues, ignoring Hitoshi. It's the hero course exam, and what is the most important things heroes do? Hitoshi's eyes widened at the realization. They save people. Midoriya grins, his eyes glimmering mischievously. Exactly. All right, listeners, this concludes Chapter 2 of Is Neutrality Not Enough? Drop those thoughts, reactions, comments below. Chapter 3 will be up next, and as always, thank you all so much for listening.